Okay, guys, so I'm going to walk you guys through the rest of Act 3. You guys have read the famous To Be or Not to Be soliloquy, and you know that Hamlet is really struggling with what to do at this point. Do I fake my madness? Do I pursue the revenge that my ghost father wants me to do? All these different things. And he says that he's really famously dismissed Ophelia here. He has the famous line, "Get thee to a nunnery." And we're setting up a series of dominoes, really, that are going to start falling into place. So this is Hamlet's master plan, and as things start falling into place, you'll see things start falling, sort of spiraling out of control at the same time. So in scene 2, he's discussing with the players this play that he's made up, which he knows is not a good play, but it's designed to catch his uncle and his mother. And basically, the play is exactly what's happened. So the two players in the play are a king and queen, and they've murdered the brother, and they're in this incestuous relationship. So he's going to be watching his uncle and his mother during this play. And the important part of this is that he sits and discusses the art of theater and the art of playing and acting with the actors. So it's kind of a meta-analysis about acting. And it raises the questions of, is he acting crazy or is he really becoming mad? And Shakespeare likes to do this. He likes to put his art into the play. So we're having a play within a play here. When we move to Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, so these two are really interesting characters. They have come as old friends of Hamlet, and the king has sort of asked them to keep an eye on him. Is he okay? What's going on with him? Make him be okay. And it's not so that he's really concerned about Hamlet. It's that he wants them to um, spy for him. And the important part about Rosencrantz and Guildenstern is that they are ambiguous. So they're not necessarily bad guys. They're just being pulled into something that they don't really understand. But they're also not great guys because they are willing to kind of spy on him and tell the king things about him. And so Hamlet is really suspicious of them, and we're never quite sure if he's playing them or if he's aware that he's aware that they're watching him, but we're not quite sure what he's doing with them. So again, the play within a play was really important because Hamlet is sitting here watching everybody, and he ends up baiting his mom during the play when it gets to the part about about the play queen being in the bed with the play king and all these different things. He says, "Madam, how like you this play?" And she famously replies, "The lady doth protest too much, methinks." So she has a problem with the way that the queen is acting. She's saying, "I think the queen is guilty." And he's like, "Yes, obviously, I'm looking at you." But she either doesn't get it or her guilt is manifesting. The king, on the other hand, when it gets to the end of or to the part of the play where it's revealed that he has murdered his brother, he freaks out and he stops the play. So Hamlet obviously takes this as confirmation of his guilt. And then when we go to scene 3, Hamlet is supposed to go to his mother's room. She wants to talk to him because she's got such an issue with what's happened in the play. He says, yeah, I'm coming. And Polonius has hidden himself. And he says, "I'm going to hide myself behind your tapestry and I'll watch Hamlet and I'll see what's going on with him." The king, meanwhile, has gone and he's talked to Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. He says, "Hamlet's madness is too much. I have to send him away." And we know that this is not because he's mad and not because he's threatening the kingdom, but because he realizes, or he perhaps realizes, that Hamlet is on to him or something is going on. He knows Hamlet's getting too close to the truth, so he wants to send him away. And Rosencrantz and Guildenstern don't know, but he's also sending a letter to the King of England basically to say, um, kill Hamlet. So he's guilty, he's treason, something like that, kill him. So they agree to take him to England, and then without really knowing that this is going on. And the king, importantly, he stops and he has this monologue where he admits what he's done and he gets down on his knees and he prays. And Hamlet comes in and hears him praying, and he realizes this is his chance to kill him because he's alone, his eyes are closed, he could sneak up behind him and kill him. But Hamlet realizes that he doesn't want to because he doesn't want him to be killed in a moment when he's having penance. So he doesn't want him to be killed in a moment when he's being forgiven for his sins. He wants him to go to hell. He wants him to suffer. So he does not want the chance for redemption for him. And the king, at the end of it, he says, "My words fly up, my thoughts remain below. Words without thoughts never to heaven go." So meaning, even though I'm saying all the right things, I'm realizing that my heart is black and guilty. There's nothing I can do. So that's where we leave Hamlet. He decides to go to his mother's room, and he confronts her about what she's done, and he famously says, he accuses her of what she's done, and she says, "What are you going to do? Kill me?" And she says, help. And Polonius jumps out because Polonius is kind of an idiot. He jumps out and says, oh, help, help, help. And as he's kind of jumping up from behind the tapestry, Hamlet takes his sword and stabs through the tapestry, not knowing who's back there. He just knows somebody's back there. He stabs the tapestry and he kills Polonius. And Hamlet basically says, oh, well, he was kind of an idiot. It's his own fault. And he says to his mother, this is a bloody deed, almost as bad, good mother, as kill a king and marry his brother. So here he's outright accusing her finally, and she kind of denies it for a little while, but he keeps pushing. And finally she says, oh, Hamlet, speak no more. Thou turnest my eyes into my very soul, and there I see such black and grained spots as will not leave their tinct. So she says, please, please stop. The guilt is overwhelming. Yes, I did it. It's my fault. I married the uncle. I possibly had a hand in his murder, in the father's murder. She says, I can't stand my guilt. And at this moment, the ghost appears. So he says, talk to the ghost. Tell him what you did. Tell him that you're sorry. And she's like, what are you talking about? You're crazy. So the ghost, Hamlet realizes he can't, and no one else can see the ghost but Hamlet. And the ghost reminds him to go and confront his uncle. That's the most important thing. So the question here becomes, is he really becoming crazy? Is the ghost real at this point? Is Hamlet descending into madness, or is he still putting on the airs of madness? That's the question. So we see these different manifestations of guilt. We see religious manifestations. We see the ghost. We see different things happening. We also have the theme of art. So art in the play. Art here can have a dual meaning. So art can be art as in the theater. Art can also be the art of being artful. So acting, making everyone think one thing but really doing something else. So it's a really interesting play on words here. Again, the art of acting itself is very important. So how does acting play out? Who is really telling the truth when someone is acting? The idea of revenge is equally important. So how is revenge working here? Is revenge worth it? Does revenge spiral out? Does it consume and destroy? Or is there such thing as rightful revenge? And then again, these ideas of guilt and purification. So this is where we get the religious concept coming in with the king, Claudius, praying for purification of his soul. We have these different ways that people are trying to start to purify themselves. So the queen wants to purify her thoughts. Ophelia is going to try and purify herself in a certain way. You'll see all these different kind of manifestations of purification and guilt. So things to remember, as the body count starts increasing in Act 3, so Polonius is really our first victim here, note that this is going to start increasing with the pace of the play. So this is kind of heading towards the climax of the play, and it's part of this 5-part structure that's really important. The idea of madness, again, we're coming back to it over and over again. Is he descending into madness? Is he becoming crazy? He's committed a murder and he feels no guilt. Is that a sign of madness potential? Or is this just sort of a casualty in the act of revenge that he has to pursue? Is the ghost really there? Is he faking his madness? Who here is being played and who is playing everyone else? And then again, how do gender differences play into this act? It's really important. Ophelia and Gertrude, they're the only 2 female characters, and Gertrude is kind of, she's an incestuous murderer who betrays her own husband and son. So what kinds of imagery of women do we have in this play, and how do they play out? How do these women deal with the main character, Hamlet? And then just some final thoughts. So as we start heading towards this climax, think about how these sort of chess movements, these things that he's planning out and manipulating, all these dominoes he's put up, how do they start falling? So how is Hamlet maneuvering or manipulating everybody else? Or is he? Is he losing control? How does his guilt, or not his guilt, but how does the idea of guilt and penance work in the court? And what does this say about politics and courtly life? What is Shakespeare saying about the sort of social and political aspects of courtly life and how they relate to moral and ethics? So that's it. If you have any questions, let me know, but otherwise go ahead and move on.